Hello everyone and welcome back to E2E. Today we are going to be continuing off making creative items and we'll be making creative power today. We're going to make the creative generator from IC2, the creative capacitor bank from Ender.io, and of course we are going to need tier 6 solar arrays to make both of these. Just kidding, it's only for the normal creative capacitor bank. So we only need that for this one. So I guess that's what we should probably do first. Let's go ahead and start with the solar array tier 6. Now, of course, the thing about making all of these is that I need to make more than one of them. Specifically, creative generator is used in crafting the vending upgrade, and so is the capacitor bank. So we need to make 2 each, just so we can have one to actually use and one that gets turned into the vending upgrade. Starting off with the creative capacitor bank, we need this crafting recipe right here. It is decently expensive, but we don't actually need the tier 6 solar panels. We only need tier 4s and 5s for this. Why don't we just go ahead and start by getting some crafting patterns for the tier 4s and 5. I think I already have tier 4 automated. We just need to do tier 5, and then we can make 3 of the tier 6 ones as well. So I guess let's get started with making tier 5s. In this capacitor bank, we need 2 of these, remember that. So we're going to need 2 4s and 2 5s, which means we're going to need 4 4s because 2 of those get upgraded into the tier 5, obviously. There you go. So we're going to need 8 tier 4s total. So let's just see if I can actually make that in a single crafting CPU. I seriously doubt it. Wow, okay, I actually can. Interesting. Well, this is going to take a while, so let's just go ahead and start that. And then we can work on getting the pattern going for tier 5, because that is a good idea. This takes a elite crafting table, and of course we are going to have to put a pattern for that, so let's go ahead and make up another elite crafting table. Again, luckily I have the pattern for this, and we are missing some Osglow gloss. And there we have our elite crafting table. Nice. We're going to go ahead and get this pattern set up right here, I think. And of course we cannot forget the unpackager. Pattern should be in here. Let's just check. There we go, right there. Let's just hit next and see what we need. We need a recipe package, which apparently we do not have the crafting to make. I believe I have done something wrong. The real question is, why is it not giving the patterns for these? I have no idea. Or how about instead of actually fixing the problem, I just completely ignore it? Because there's only 8 different things in this crafting recipe, and there's literally 9 slots in a normal pattern, so we're just going to do that instead. That does mean we are going to need to make all of the components to be able to actually put them into this terminal, but that is fine. We're going to have to do that anyway. Alright, let's go ahead and get all this done. Ionite blocks, that should be easy. Ionite solar panels, we are going to need 20. We're going to need 2 signalum cell frames and 4 hardened cell frames. 2 high voltage solar panels, which is going to take a very, very long time to craft, so good thing we are getting started on that now, and we do not have any CPUs available because the big one is currently being used to craft the solar panels, so we're going to have to wait on that. We're, of course, going to need one of our tier 4s for elite plating, and then we're going to need to make the patterns for large solar panels, which are pretty cheap if I remember. Yep, they literally just take some basic solar panels, which is gold plates, glowstone, and redstone. That is easy peasy. Run a quick test here just to make sure we can actually make these solar panels, and of course we can. And now all we need is the high voltage solar panels, which, as you can see, we need about 4,000 tin item casing, which is going to take forever. We're crafting I think it was 2,000 stone gears, a bunch of these, 1,000 basic control circuits. Yeah, these recipes get extremely expensive and time consuming. So, yep, we're going to be here for a little while. It may be in my best interest to speed up some of these machines here, especially this one, because this one is quite slow. So I might just go grab some more overclocker updates just to get this going a little bit quicker, because we're probably going to need it. But in the meantime, I'll deal with that. You know what? Let's just go deal with that right now. And another thing I didn't realize we needed is 10,000 tin plates. Dear Lord, that's a lot of tin plates. And this is literally only to make a single one, and we need 4. So we are literally going to be sitting here crafting for maybe an hour. So I probably should just set all of this aside, maybe into this chest right here. And we'll deal with that in a second. Let's just go ahead and get started on some of the other things we need to do, like gathering the resources for this, because we're only going to be making 3 of these, so it may just be in our best interest to just get the stuff. The only issue with that is, guess what? We need 4 of them each, so we are going to need 12 total, and 2 is already taking that long. So that's going to be great. We're going to have to figure out a way to speed that up somehow. All right, I guess let me go ahead and start gathering up some of this stuff, because this is going to be way easier. So we're going to need 3 of these, so we need to multiply the recipe by 3, obviously. So we need 24 times 3 Atheum solar cells. That is 72 total. We're going to need 16 times 3 Atheum blocks. That's, of course, 48. We're going to need 12 resonance soul frames. Luckily, we made a stack last episode, so that's not going to be too bad, and I'm going to put it into this chest here. here. We're going to need 2 solar neutron activators, which we've made these before. They're pretty cheap. And there we go on those. And also, I switched over to a diamond chest so we can actually lay out the pattern for the recipe. That's just going to make things a lot easier to comprehend, I suppose. We also are going to need 6 RTG pellets, or pellets of RTG fuel from RC2. Remember, way back in the day, we duplicated these with UU matter, so that is not going to be too bad. We just have to go retrieve them. And it looks like I am getting radiated to death right now, so we should probably put these in the chest here. There we go. Oh, we also are going to need more solar neutron activators. We need 6 total. There we go. Now, these obviously don't stack, so we're just going to put them in the corner over here. There's the solar panels in place as well. Obviously, we are going to have to put a placeholder for these high voltage solar arrays, because they're going to take forever. But we also need 2, 4, 6, 8, 24 ultimate ingots, which we are now at 172, so we may need to get some more queued up here soon, which is slightly unfortunate. And that also means we can now put in the Aethium blocks. Next up, we need 24 awakened draconium blocks. Oh dear. Do I even have enough for that? Yes, I do. That is actually rather surprising. Next up, we need crystalline blocks, so we need 12 of those. So we need about 100 crystalline. That is also going to take a little bit to craft because those things do take a while, so we'll wait on that. We also are going to need some singularities. We'll deal with that in a second. Let's put in the 6 awakened cores we need first. All right, now we have the rather complicated stuff. We've got draconic reactor cores, reactor stabilizers, and singularities. Let's start off with the draconic reactor core because we already have the one. I think it's in here. Yes, it is. Oh, we actually have 2. So I believe I need to make 1 more of these. Yep. That's not going to be too bad. It's just draconium and a chaos shard. And there we have our last reactor core that we need. Perfect. Now, obviously, the next part is going to be the stabilizers. And I believe I did not calculate for 3 stabilizers when I was making my chaotic cores. So we may have to make some more of those, but let's just go ahead and take a look at the recipe here. So we're going to need 3 chaotic cores. Fantastic. We're going to need 12 awakened draconium, 3 draconic energy cores, 3 focus rings, and 3 stabilizer rotor assemblies. The reactor stabilizer focus ring is pretty easy. That just takes a wyvern core, which we somehow don't have. So let's just make 30 of those. That should take only a little bit. Mostly because we no longer have to wait for stellar alloy to craft because we have 4.1 million. May have overdone it a bit on some of these ingots here. I did go ahead and turn those off. So we're not just going to be constantly consuming like half an MRF of power over there. But, I mean, we're probably going to never need any of this again. And it looks like we are currently stuck crafting some things. So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that craft and then just go ahead and restart it. And then we should have our second high voltage solar panel. And there we do. Perfect. I'm going to instantly go over to here and see if I can copy this, because these are so expensive. That is extremely annoying. So yeah, we are literally going to be sitting here for hours on end crafting these. Okay, well anyways, I believe these 2 go with the tier 5. So let's just go ahead and get the pattern going for this. Plonk that in right there, and then we are going to configure the pattern right here. Like so. Save recipe, and there is a tier 5. One of 4 that we need to make the creative capacitor bank, and then we will need, of course, 3 more to make the tier 6 solar panels, which is just fantastic and very nice. So let's go ahead and queue up 1 more of these just to see if it works. Now, of course, it is going to have to go through this extremely intensive crafting recipe with 10,000 tin plates, but that's fine. We kind of saw this coming anyway. Let's go ahead and start that, and then we can check back in 10 minutes. And see if that actually worked. Anyways, in the meantime, we probably have enough to craft the stabilizer frames, which I believe I was not even looking at. I was looking at the stabilizer rings, which are now done. The stabilizer frames obviously cheap as well. And we need the rotor assemblies, which we are going to need stabilizer inner and outer rotors. So that's kind of expensive. A lot of awakened draconium here. And I believe I actually just made way more of these than I needed. There we go. We have all of the components ready to go, I believe. Indeed we do. Let's go ahead and make these. And there we go. We are making our stabilizers. Perfect. And there we have the 3 stabilizers we need. And now what we're waiting on is the crystalline, which I probably should check on. Yeah, okay, interestingly enough, it is literally just not transferring anything that isn't nether star nuggets. Well, after that didn't work, I just shoved some in, and there we go. Crystalline is now done. The only thing we have left is, of course, the high voltage solar panels, which we're going to do later. We have the singularities, which I believe we're going to do right now, and the tier 5 solar panels, which require more high voltage solar panels, which we're going to do later. Let's go ahead and do some singularities. This is going to be actually kind of fun because we are going to have to do a little bit of jank with this. Obviously, putting in singularities with this kind of pattern recipe is a horrible idea and takes forever. So we're not going to be doing that. Instead, we're going to be using a level emitter. Now, unfortunately, I don't really know how to use these, so I am going to have to look it up. But essentially what these can do is they can kind of set how much of something goes into something until you can't do it anymore. That was a horrible explanation. Let me try it again. Basically what these do is they will let you configure your system. Say you want to have 8 singularities in your system. You can tell this that once it reads 8 singularities in the system, it will emit a redstone signal, which then you can use to turn off various machines, which I'm hoping works with a export bus. Now, this thing also takes a decent amount of power, so we are going to simply move this somewhere that can actually, sustain it. Probably the end game building. I don't know, maybe like right here. So let's do that. We are also going to need to grab an ME cable. I believe there should be one under the ground somewhere. We are going to have to go find it, obviously, but that will be a problem for future me. Current me is trying to figure out, how to actually get this to work. So let's get power plugged in, the ME cable plugged in, and figure out how these level emitters work. Alrighty, so I think I've got a system going over here. Now this interface is obviously not very useful. The only thing that it does is export the finished singularities out back into the system. So I guess we can go ahead and plug that in right there, and that should be good to go. Now, level emitter right here with a export bus. The export bus is currently on a redstone card and is set to activate without signal. So since the signal is currently live, it is not active. So if we put a piece of gold in there, as you can see, it is not exporting. Now, here's the thing about the level emitter. You can set the item right here, and then it will detect how much is in your system. Unfortunately, E2E does not have any of the nice quality of life applied energistics mods, so I can't drag from JEI into here, which is a little bit annoying. So we are going to have to set this to something stupid so that it can actually read it, or we just turn this to inverted mode. So now this should be exporting gold into the system, hopefully extremely quickly. Looks like it is, but unfortunately, this stupid compressor doesn't want to work, so the only way to fix that is to pick it up and place it back down, and then it should work. There we go. Alright, and now this should start exporting gold into our system here. Now this also looks to be extremely slow, which is not good. Okay, looks like this thing is speeding up very heavily. I think Applied Energistics tries to be not super laggy by only ticking machines that, are constantly taking inputs. If something doesn't take inputs very much, it won't export as much as something that takes a stupid amount like the quantum compressor is right now. So that does make sense. Anyways, it looks like we are just about to make our first gold singularity. This is going to take a little bit, and I'm going to try to snatch it out of the output before the item cable can. Oh, I missed it. But hey, there we go. We have our first truly automatic singularity crafted up, which is nice. So let's go ahead and get this level emitter configured. So let's figure out exactly how many we need. Let's take a look. So gold singularities are used in the infinity catalyst plus the ultimate singularity, creative modifier, which we've already done, and of course the tier 6 solar panels, which we're working on right now. So we need 3 plus however many of these we need, which is 22 gold singularities. If it detects 22 in the system, then shut off. Above or equal. There we go, and that should allow gold into the compressor, and that will generate a bunch of the gold singularities that we need. Perfect. Go ahead and put the 1 gold singularity that we have back, and that will be gold singularities, and all the other singularities basically complete. Now, again, we just have to wait for that to happen. I might also want to go switch to the other 3 that we need. I believe it's, let's just look, diamond, mithril, and gold, and manulian. I guess we could also get a start on making some of the capacitor bank things. It's basically just going to be gather materials and put them in the chest, and the majority of this we already have. So I guess, you know what? We probably should just go ahead and work on this one. And also maybe this one, because this one is substantially easier, actually. You know what? Let's go ahead and make the creative generators first. First up, let's go ahead and grab the 24 RTG pellets we need. And while we're over here... What? Oh, yeah, right. That's radioactive. I probably should not hold this for very long. Is there anything that I need to gather while I'm over here in the IC2 building? No, doesn't look like it. All right, well, there we go on that. We are going to need to grab 6 buckets of UU matter. Actually, 8. Actually, 16. I can count. It's fine. Unfortunately, my pressurizer is currently being hogged by tin plates. Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming, and it looks like it's not doing very well with power either, so I may want to just go swap out the cables with the melodic ones. And there we go. Our RTG pellets are in place, and I'm no longer taking damage. That did take quite a bit of my power. Let me check my bauble real quick. Yeah, that took a lot. Oh well. Next up, let's just go ahead and grab the 16 buckets of UU matter. There we go, and we'll just put the rest of them that will not stack on the side here. Next up, we obviously cannot make the solar panels because obviously that's going to take forever. So instead, let's go and grab our 24 angle sight. I really hope I did the math right on the angle sight. I'm beginning to doubt it, though. I feel like we may need to make a couple extra. I don't think I took into calculation that I needed 2 of each of these. I'm not really sure, so we're gonna find out. We also are going to need 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, 24 ultimate induction providers. Oh dear, that's going to take forever. We need 319,000 bytes, and we cannot start this because we do not have a crafting CPU available. So I'm thinking we probably should upgrade a couple of these. And funnily enough, we still can't make one even with 3 of these, so that's insane. Yeah, but we can make a 12 at a time, so let's just do it like that. Hopefully this isn't going to take too long. Looks like the hardest part is probably going to be crafting all 11,000 enriched alloy, and that's just going to take forever, so... Great, let's get that started now. You know, I have a feeling this episode is going to be, we're doing a lot of crafting and a lot of waiting. Well, now that that's in place, we can move on to something else. MFSU, I believe we should be able to make those. I have a pattern, I think. I don't. And that isn't even that bad either. We just need an MFE, some Lapotron crystals. The MFE is obviously a basic machine, and some energy crystals and gold cables. That's actually not too bad. I might just make a pattern for that because I'm lazy. You know it's a long day when you're using 6 of your 8 giant crafting processors. Oh my god. Well, anyways, I had to make a pattern for advanced circuits because we're literally crafting 8,000 basic ones in that thing, so obviously we're going to have to wait 30 years for that to happen. I'm also crafting up some MFEs, but we are making energy crystals. I don't know what's taking so long on that. And you know it's an even longer day when you are literally skirting around your automation recipes to make something because it's making so many of them. It's going to take 15 minutes to even get the ones that you need right now. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, now we're making large magnetic plates, which will be used to make the basic machine cases. And there we go, 8 MFEs. Now, hopefully, we should be able to make 8 MFSU. Of course, we do not have any diamond dust, so we have to go gather some of that, but then we should be able to make it. Now, it looks like we have also completed all the Tier 5 and Tier 4 solar panels, which is great. That is used for the creative capacitor bank, which we haven't even started yet. Okay, you know what? And we are currently using our crusher to make lithium, so we cannot even crush up the diamonds. This is how bad it's getting. I am using my IC2 big multi-block crusher right now. The last time I used this was like episode 10. Oh my god, so much crafting. What just happened? Oh, I unloaded the area and it just popped off all the items onto the floor? No. Applied Energistics, what are you doing? Wait, did it dupe them? It's still crafting. Oh my god. Well. Okay. Note to self, do not unload your ME system. It will cause weird things to happen. I think, since everything still looks to be fine in here, I'm just gonna kind of get a flint and steel and burn all that. Because, I mean, obviously you can tell right now my frames per second, they ain't doing so hot, Chief. Get rid of all of these. Clear up some of the frames, you know. Manulian and the Ardite are not burning. None of this is burning because it's all on construction paste. Cool. Although I do think we just got a bunch of free materials, so that's kind of good, I guess. I know how I can actually fix this pretty easy. Dank null. If I make the emerald one, because now we actually have singularities, I should be able to pick up all of these at once. Everything goes in here, everything. Oh my god. Alright, well, here's all the stuff that was just sitting on the floor. I have a feeling the entirety of this dank null is completely duplicated items, and we are not going to be using these. So we're just gonna kind of slap it in here. What was I doing? I don't remember. Right, I was making MFSU. And there is our 8 MFSU after having to weasel around the entire crafting system for a little bit. Unbelievable. Okay, now where do these go? These go in this one in the corners. There we go. All of that work just to get those 2 things into place. What's next? Nuclear reactor from IC2. This should be pretty easy. All this takes is reactor chambers, which is a bunch of dense lead plate and basic machine casing. Now we're just waiting. Okay, cool. Next up on the list that we don't really have to wait for is probably going to be the fusion cores. These aren't too bad. It's just elite plating, diboride, chemical reactors, and a machine chassis. We've made these plenty of times. And unfortunately, it looks like we are going to have to just sit here and wait for a little bit because we are crafting, and crafting. So, yeah. And here we can finally make our fusion cores after waiting around for 10 minutes for the plate pressers to work. Nice. Okay, well that took forever. Alright, let's see. We are essentially now just waiting on things, and there's not really much else we could do. We could probably make these ultimate catalysts here and, rainbow generator. And the thing about rainbow generators is they're extremely annoying to make because they take 16 different generators. That's annoying. But also, we're going to need 1, 2 for both of these, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. Ugh. Luckily, I already have the 1, so we only really need to make 5. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make those rainbow generators. You've seen me do that once. We just talked about basically all the generators that you put into it. And we're going to wait for all this crafting to be done. So yeah, let's just cut back when some stuff has happened, because it's really slow progress right now. Alright, well, here we are basically an hour later. We now have all of our induction providers and all of our rainbow generators crafted up. The induction providers took forever. Oh my god, I really hope I don't have to ever make any more of these, and yeah, joke's on you, I need 8 more for the creative capacitor bank. So that's fantastic. We'll deal with that later. Anyways, let's go ahead and put the ultimate induction providers into the chest where they are supposed to go. That will be in the corners here. Like so. Perfect. So now all we got to do is get the center and get these solar panels. We can also go ahead and throw in our rainbow generators into here. And we can also go ahead and format these solar panels and these rainbow generators for the capacitor bank. Now all we need to do is make 24 tier 3 solar panels for the outside of the creative generator, plus the nuclear reactors we were talking about, ultimate catalysts, and some induction cells. Let's go ahead and get the induction cells started right now. We're going to need 8 total. And hopefully this is not going to be a stupid expensive recipe like the other ones were, but yep, I figured it would be. 9,400 enriched alloy. Good thing we are starting this now. Another thing that we should probably also get started on making is more high voltage solar panels. Now the reason these take so long is because we need to craft 11,000 tin plates. Now the majority of that actually goes into 1,000 dense tin plates, which gets turned into the basic machine cases, which then gets turned into the generator, which is the thing that we need the most of. We can skip that stage if we just use our UU matter duplicator to duplicate the basic machine cases. So that's exactly what I did. And another thing to note, these take 2,000 electronic circuits, which usually you would have to use the redstone infuser. But if we just, duplicate those as well. As you can see right here, you can either use a basic control circuit, as the OR dictionary name is circuit basic, or you can use the electronic circuit, and these can be duplicated with UU matter as well. So that is what I did. I went ahead and duplicated up, let's just take a look here, 282 stacks of electronic circuits, and if we warp over to here, we should have a stupid amount of basic machine cases. We are currently at 6,700. Which I think that is pretty good for now. We are going to go ahead and stop production. I also went ahead and added a black hole tank with UU matter just so we can speed this up. Alright, let's go ahead and attach this to our system real quick, and then we can start making more solar panels as well. Alright, well let's go ahead and craft 2 high voltage solar panels, and let's check the recipe. This is probably going to be much, much cheaper. We already have all of this, so the hardest part now is going to be 4,000 tin cases. There's not much we can really do about that, plus crafting 1,024 furnaces. Fortunately, there isn't really a way to get around that, but that's going to be a lot faster and take up a significantly less amount of bytes. Before we even queue up any of those, why don't we just go ahead and finish off crafting the nuclear reactors. These aren't too bad in and of themselves. We do have all of the lead plates available to us now. And there we have it, nuclear reactors are ready to go. Let's go ahead and put these in to there. Nice. All that we have left is, of course, the induction cells and the ultimate catalysts, plus the solar panels. So let's just go ahead and grab those ultimate catalysts real quick. And there we have ultimate catalysts in as well. Now, unfortunately, we are running out of ultimate ingots, and the capacitor bank takes 56 total. So we're probably going to be needing to make some more ultimate ingots to get some of the other creative items. Unfortunate, but I kind of saw it coming. So we're going to have to go to the end. We're going to have to get more enchanted ender ingots, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, those are the worst part of this entire thing, mostly because the only way to actually automate this is by automating Dragon's Breath. Yep, literally every single other thing in this is completely automatable except for Dragon's Breath, unless I want to make a Dragon Forge. That sounds like a lot of effort. I think it would be faster, again, to just go to the end, resummon the dragon, and collect some. So I'll probably end up doing that in between clips here, just queuing up more ultimate ingots. There's no point in showing that anymore because we've done this about 1,000 times by now. Alright, well, I guess now we gotta wait for ultimate induction cells and some solar panels to craft up, and then that will basically be everything that we need for the creative generator. So while that is queuing up, we can also focus on getting ready for the capacitor bank. All right, so first things first on the creative capacitor bank, let's go ahead and grab the outer rim because that is the easiest part. Resonant cell frames, RTG pellets, and ultimate ingots. We already have all of those. Another thing to note, my drives have been moved. But before we get into that, I should probably mention a few things. One of them being the server is currently actively dying. I loaded in this morning and noticed that this entire chunk and this entire chunk were completely corrupted and my ME system was essentially deleted. So I had to go restore a backup from this morning, and I have a feeling that the root cause was because I have so many items in one specific chunk that the chunk decides, yeah, you know what, let's just not save, and then corrupts itself. So I moved some drives over to different chunks. This one is in this chunk, this one is in this chunk, and of course this and the liquids are still in the same chunk. Hopefully that will resolve the issue. Another issue that I found that every time Woodstock loaded into the game, it completely crashed the server. No idea why that happened. I went over there to his base, same thing happened to me, so I literally just moved his drives to different chunks, and then it turned out to be fine, and I moved him back to the same chunk, and again, it was fine. So honestly, no idea what's going on, but the server is probably on its last legs, so we probably need to, pick this up and get this mod pack completed before it completely crashes out, and then I have no way to fix it. Anyways, enough yapping. Back to the capacitor bank. Let's get all these stuffs. There we go. Outer rim complete. That was pretty simple. Again, we already had all of that stuff. Ultimate ingots, of course, we are completely running out, so I'm going to have to go get those as discussed previously, but I'll be doing that later. Next step is the second row. We need 4 pieces of dilithium, which I hope I have some. I do. Good. Otherwise, I'd have to go all the way back over to my space station, and that would probably cause even more lag than we need right now. We need 4 RTGs times 2. Luckily, we did that so long ago that we have 200 some. We're going to need 16 elite plating, which I might actually have. I do. I made a whole bunch extra when I was crafting the, what were they? Fusion cores. So we just have a whole bunch on hand. Very nice. And now we're going to need to grab 8 anglesite and 8 benitoite. And there we go, that is now also complete. Next up, we are going to need ultimate induction providers and ultimate induction cells. Obviously, we can't be doing that right now because we currently have 8 induction cells queued up, specifically to make the creative generator. And of course, we also have solar panels queued up, but it looks like those have actually completed. Wow, these craft a lot faster now that we actually have circuits on hand. We need more wood. That I did not see coming. Hopefully I have a stockpile in my forestry building. Luckily I do. I have 1,938 stacks of oak planks. So again, I'm just going to go attach this to my system and we'll call it good from there. Okay, crisis averted. Well, as I was saying before we got interrupted, this crafts a lot faster now that we have the basic machine casings and electronic circuits duplicated by the UU matter, so very good on that front. Anyways, what were we doing? Oh yeah, we weren't going to be able to make these, so we're going to have to move on to some of the other things. We could grab some energy cores here. Let's just do that. Those are pretty cheap. We only need 4. And we also need to grab these energy cells that are resonant, and we need 16 total. So we need to grab normal energy cells, the basic ones from thermal expansion. This just takes energy cell frames, some redstone and conductance coil. That's not too bad at all. And there we go. Now we can make 16 basic energy cells. And of course, we now need to upgrade to the resonant variety, which can be done with a simple resonant upgrade kit. And there we have our 16 resonant energy cells. Go ahead and put those into place as well. Let's also go ahead and grab some ultimate catalysts here. We only need 2. Thankfully, we don't need more than that because we are very, very low on ultimate ingots. We have 44 left. And in go the ultimate catalysts. I believe our energy cores should be done now. Indeed they are. And now all we are waiting for is induction providers and induction cells. Induction cells and solar panels, and I believe more solar panels and more solar panels. We are at that point where we literally are just waiting for solar panels. Oh, wait, no, these need singularities. We should check up on the singularities. We are completely done with gold, and I switched it over to diamond, and we are now at 14 out of the needed 20 diamond singularities. Manuelian, I believe, is a weird one because this is only used in the solar arrays and in the ultimate singularity, so we're only going to need 5 of those. And then, of course, the mithril one is also used only in the solar controller tier 6 and the ultimate. So again, we're only going to need 5 of those as well. So we only need 6 more diamond singularities, 5 and 5, and then we will be good to go on that. Nice. Well, it is now basically just a waiting game. Crafting up solar panels, crafting up induction cells, crafting up induction providers, placing them in where they need to go, and then we can get these crafted. So I guess I will just cut back when all of these have been crafted because there's no point sitting around watching crafting patterns go for like an hour. Well, after about, I kid you not, 4 rollbacks, 18 server restarts, and 7 hours later, We finally have everything we need. The absolute LVP, least valued person of this entire thing, mechanism. The reason their server was crashing so much is because queuing up ultimate induction cells is extremely taxing on any server. Mostly because, let's just take a look here. Energy tablets, ultimate energy cubes, energy tablets, energy cubes, tablets, cubes, tablets, cubes, tablets. These are non-stackable, so they all count for a different thing. So queuing up one induction cell takes like 3,000 non-stackable items, and the ME system just simply cannot handle that. So it crashes, and I have discovered that if my system is currently crafting something, and the server crashes, the chunks get corrupted. Yeah, so my entire ME system got deleted about 6 times, so I had to roll back the server like 7 times. It was really annoying. In the end, we did manage to get everything that we need. Right now, we're just crafting up the last 2 large solar panels so we can make the tier 5 solar panels to go in the center to make the tier 6 solar array controllers. Everything else, though, is ready to go, and I have it right here in my inventory. So let's go ahead and put everything into place while we are waiting for the last solar panels to go in. Got the solar panels going into there and the induction cells, which finishes out everything we need to make the creative generator. And we can put in the induction cells right here and the providers right there to finish out everything we need for the creative capacitor bank. Hallelujah, this took forever. Let's go ahead and make these real quick before the server crashes again. Alrighty, here's to hoping that I can simply shift-click this in. I have a feeling I can't because of the stupid energy cells. I hate everything. We are going to have to reconstruct the recipes manually yet again. And there we finally have the first creative capacitor bank. Oh my god, that was extremely annoying. Thank you. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and get this second one out of the way. Good grief. I never want to see those again. That seriously was the most annoying process known to man because, it takes a long time to, take a backup and, restore it. So it literally took 7 hours to figure out. Oh my god, that was horrendous. Okay, well there we go. Creative capacitor banks are done. Let's go ahead and craft up the creative generators as well. Here we go, creative generator, and we can in fact shift-click into there. Why is this not working? I'm concerned now. What? What? I literally moved them in. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. Did I misread something? Honestly, I really have no idea what is going on. I went into a creative testing world and I, got some resources from the JEI page and I was able to shift-click it in and craft it. It just showed up! Oh, it's invisible? It's been invisible this whole time? You've got to be kidding me. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, I guess that's on me for not clicking on an invisible square. Okay, dude, but there we go. Creative generator is done. I came all the way out here into the middle of the desert. Oh, creative fluids. Anyways, I came all the way out here into the middle of the desert to try to, make sure that it wasn't my base causing problems or something. No, it just turns out it was invisible. And we did just retroactively complete the quest to get the creative fluid tank, which is pretty good. We are now one step closer to the creative vending upgrade. But, of course, we're not doing that this episode. This episode, the only thing we have left to do is the Tier 6 solar panel, which we are currently working on Manuelian singularities. And I don't think I ever set the filter for those, so I probably should go back and check before we make more than we need to. We only need 5 of them. Let's make sure I didn't make like 30. That has happened to Woodstock and Potato Master on the server. They both have overmade singularities, and I don't really want to follow suit. I would rather, not do that. So let's make sure that we're not currently overcrafting here. We can also put our creative generators into our creative chest as well. Perfect. And it looks like one of the Manuelian singularities hasn't even been crafted yet, so that is pretty good. Looks like the ME system is getting a little slow here, or it's currently processing. I'm not really sure. Yep, looks like it's just slow. All right, well, we're just going to have to wait for those singularities because I believe we have basically everything else we need for in here, minus the tier 5 solar panels. Let's go ahead and get those crafted up. We should have, 6 high voltage solar arrays, so that should be fine. So let's go ahead, find tier 5, and make 3 of them, assuming we can actually do this. Is this an extremely large recipe, or is it going to be fine? It looks to be fine. It's probably just going to take a little while because it's got to craft a whole bunch of random garbage. The more I make large recipes, the more scared that I get because every single time I make large recipes, it feels like the server goes haywire. So we're just going to hit start and hope for the best. And you know what? What better way to finish up the episode than watching the crafting tree just kind of run? And there we have it. As you can see, I'm currently crafting up some manulian because we do not have enough for all of the singularities. Also, let me go set the filter over there so we're not accidentally over making these as well. It is kind of annoying that the version of Applied Energistics in this mod pack is not the extended life version. We can't just like drag things from JEI into things, and we also only have 9 slots on interfaces. I know the other version of Applied Energistics does, which would be, you know, extremely convenient, but, you know, you gotta live with what you got, right? Anyways, so the solar panels are now done. We can go ahead and move these tier 5 things straight into this chest right here, and now all we have to do is wait for the other singularities. Alrighty, any second now we should have our last mithril singularity completed. Now we are going to go ahead and swap this system over to iron next because, spoiler alert, next episode we're going to be working on ultimate singularities and of course the infinity ingot, and I think we will also go ahead and knock out the ultimate gas tank, or I guess the creative gas tank next episode. Mostly because we have all the materials already, we've made most of this stuff already. The only difficult part is going to be the creative gas tank frame, which requires a bunch of random mechanism gases in an ultimate gas tank. So that's probably going to be the hardest part. The rest of it, though, is actually pretty simple, so it isn't going to take an entire episode's worth to make one. With this being said, mithril is now done. I don't know why this turned off. It's because it needs to be on that mode. We just wasted about 1,400 ingots of mithril. Not like I really care, though. All right, let's go ahead and get this swapped out for iron, because that is going to be one of the next ones we're going to do. There we go. And then we need to turn this to 19 because that is how many of basically every single other singularity that we need. And that will start filling this up with iron and making iron singularities. Now that we have the mithril and the manulian singularities, I think those are actually backwards, we can now go ahead and make tier 6 solar arrays. So let's go ahead and do that. And another thing to mention, looks like I need another mithril singularity. Oops. The real question is always about these types of things. Can I actually fit everything into my inventory, or am I going to have to make multiple trips? Honestly, who knows? And we are going to start taking damage from the pellets of RTG fuel yet again. Fantastic. Alright, let's just get these solar panels crafted up so I can stop dying of radiation. Please let me shift click into here. Boom. There we go. Solar array controller tier 6. Very nice. Unfortunately, you probably could not hear the little noise there because I'm dying from radiation. So let's go ahead and make the rest of these. There is number 2, and finally, number 3. 3 tier 6 solar array controllers. One of which, in case I ever want to set one up, which I may actually end up doing to power a bunch more of these singularity things, because I have a feeling we're going to be making more of them. And of course, the 2 for the creative vending upgrade. So let's go ahead and put all 3 of these right into there. And we can always grab the one out if we want to make one. All right, well, there we go. That is definitely going to be it for this episode. We got all of the creative power out of the way and prepared for the creative vending upgrade. Now, of course, we can use these 2. I need to be very careful with this one because I feel like it might blow up if I plug it into the wrong kind of cable. I'm not sure because it's a generator, but I don't want to find out because that was extremely expensive. This one, though, we can set it to, I believe, 1 or 2 MRF per tick, which is actually pretty good. So maybe we don't even need to set up the creative solar panel. I guess it would be the tier 6, but it's essentially the same thing. We could just set up our creative capacitor bank instead. Oh well, at least we have the option available. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. Next time, obviously, we're going to do ultimate gas tank and ultimate singularity, and of course, the infinity ingot. Goodbye.